Why did a single unmanned aircraft completely redefine the geopolitics of global trade and naval warfare? The answer lies within the MQ-9 Reaper, a remotely piloted aircraft, RPA, that has evolved from a counter-terrorism hunter-killer into a cornerstone of maritime security. Today, it stands as the ultimate weapon built to monitor, secure, and control the Strait of Hormuz, the world's most critical maritime chokepoint. The Strait of Hormuz is a narrow, volatile waterway separating Iran from Oman and the United Arab Emirates. 1/5 of the world's liquefied natural gas and oil passes through this thin corridor every single day. Because of its extreme economic importance, any disruption here can instantly trigger a global financial crisis.
Control over this strait has historically required massive, expensive naval armaments like aircraft carriers and guided missile destroyers. However, the modern threat landscape in the Persian Gulf has shifted dramatically toward asymmetric warfare. Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, relies on swarms of fast attack craft, sea mines, and hidden anti-ship missile batteries. Countering these unpredictable, rapid-fire threats with billion-dollar warships is both economically unsustainable and tactically risky. This is exactly where the General Atomics MQ-9 Reaper steps in, offering a revolution in cost-effective naval strategy. It bridges the gap between massive naval presence and agile, persistent aerial surveillance.
The Reaper represents a massive leap forward from its predecessor, the MQ-1 Predator. Built with a stronger airframe, a powerful turboprop engine, and a significantly larger payload capacity, the Reaper was born for endurance. These specific design traits make it uniquely qualified for the grueling demands of maritime patrol. At the core of the Reaper's dominance in the Strait of Hormuz is its unyielding persistence. The aircraft can stay airborne for over 24 hours without refueling, hovering silently at high altitudes. This allows military commanders to maintain unbroken, real-time custody over every vessel entering or exiting the Persian Gulf.
To control a choke point, you must first see everything within it, and the Reaper's sensor suite is unmatched. Equipped with the MTSB multispectral targeting system, it captures high-definition visual and infrared tracking data from miles away. It can identify the registration markings on an Iranian fast attack craft in complete darkness. Beyond visual tracking, newer variants like the MQ-9B SeaGuardian utilize advanced maritime surface search radar. This specialized radar cuts through sea clutter, tracking hundreds of vessels simultaneously across vast expanses of water. It builds an instant digital map of the entire strait for Allied naval forces.
Furthermore, the Reaper acts as an airborne node for electronic intelligence gathering. It intercepts, logs, and analyzes naval radio communications and radar emissions coming from coastal batteries. This passive data collection maps out enemy defensive networks without ever firing a single shot. The Strait of Hormuz is notorious for its harsh, humid, and blindingly hot desert environment. Human crews flying traditional maritime patrol aircraft suffer from rapid fatigue under these grueling conditions. The Reaper eliminates this human vulnerability entirely, operating flawlessly while its pilots sit comfortably thousands of miles away.
If a crisis escalates into open hostility, the Reaper shifts instantly from a passive observer to a lethal combatant. It carries a heavy payload of precision-guided munitions, including AGM-114 Hellfire missiles and GBU-12 Paveway laser-guided bombs. This arsenal is perfectly optimized to neutralize fast-moving naval targets. Traditional anti-ship missiles are designed to sink massive destroyers, making them ineffective against swarms of small, agile speedboats.
The Reaper's Hellfire missiles, however, offer the surgical precision needed to pick off individual fast attack craft one by one. This effectively neutralizes Iran's preferred asymmetric naval tactic.
Beyond its own weapons, the Reaper serves as a critical target spotter for heavier Allied assets. Using its onboard laser designators, it can illuminate an enemy warship from the sky. This allows distant naval destroyers or fighter jets to launch long-range missiles with absolute precision. The economic reality of running the Reaper creates a massive strategic advantage for Western forces. Flying a manned fighter jet or keeping a destroyer strike group on station costs millions of dollars per day. The Reaper operates at a fraction of that cost, allowing for a permanent blockade monitoring presence. This cost efficiency fundamentally changes the calculus of deterrence in the Persian Gulf. Iran knows that any attempt to covertly mine the strait or hijack a commercial tanker will be caught on camera immediately. The Reaper robs hostile forces of the deniability they rely on for gray zone warfare. The deployment of the Reaper also drastically lowers the political risk of military operations. If an adversary manages to shoot down an MQ-9, there is no human pilot to be captured, paraded on television, or killed. This allows commanders to push the aircraft into highly dangerous airspace without risking a geopolitical hostage crisis. In recent years, the integration of artificial intelligence has made the Reaper even more formidable. AI algorithms can now automatically sort through hours of video feeds to spot anomalies, such as a civilian fishing boat acting like a military mine layer. This drastically speeds up decision-making for commanders on the ground. The system also excels at anti-submarine warfare, ASW, when configured with sonobuoy dispensing pods. Iran operates a fleet of midget submarines designed to hide in the shallow, noisy waters of the strait. The Reaper can drop acoustic sensors into the water, tracking these underwater threats from a safe altitude. As a result, the Reaper has completely transformed how the U.S. and its allies protect international shipping lanes. Commercial tankers carrying global oil supplies can now be escorted virtually by an invisible guardian hovering miles above them. This constant overwatch stabilizes global energy markets by reducing maritime insurance risks. The presence of the Reaper also forces adversaries to alter their entire operational behavior. Iranian naval forces must constantly operate under the assumption that they are being watched, recorded, and targeted. This psychological pressure severely limits their ability to launch surprise provocations. Moreover, the Reaper plays a vital role in counter-smuggling and anti-piracy operations around the Gulf of Oman. It tracks the illicit movement of weapons, funds, and narcotics that often fuel regional proxy conflicts. By choking off these supply lines, it addresses instability before it even reaches the strait. The aircraft is also a vital tool for diplomatic accountability and international law enforcement. When illegal vessel seizures or attacks occur, the unedited video evidence captured by Reapers is shared globally. This exposes rogue state behavior to the United Nations and rallies international coalitions. Looking forward, the Reaper is increasingly operating in autonomous networks alongside unmanned surface vessels and underwater drones. This creates a multi-layered, completely uncrewed security net across the Strait of Hormuz. It ensures that control over the waterway does not rely on putting human lives in harm's way. In conclusion, control over the world's most dangerous choke point is no longer just about heavy steel warships and thunderous naval broadsides. It is about information dominance, persistent presence, and the ability to strike with surgical precision at a moment's notice. The MQ-9 Reaper delivers exactly that, cementing its status as the defining weapon of modern maritime choke point strategy.